Thanks, Natasha. Mohammad and Zaheena Sayed are one step closer to getting justice served for the death of their son. Zayyaad, the 10-year-old, died due to alleged negligence on the part of a pediatric surgeon that performed a routine procedure on him.
Yes, yesterday the NPA issued a warrant of arrest for Dr. Peter Bayela and anesthetist, Dr. Abdullah Mushni. The move was welcomed by many, including the EFF. And last month, we spoke to the Zayyads, and this is what they had to say.
The doctor faces similar claims from other parents and an 80,000 rand fine from the HPCSA for negligence. His parents, Mohammad and Zaheena, join us in studio this morning. You sent your son in for a routine procedure. What then happened?
Can we just talk about this to begin with? He said to me my son had metaplasia and the cells were pre-malignant, and that if we didn't do the op, he was going to have esophageal cancer and die. When we got the report after, there's no signs of metaplasia and there's no pre-malignant cells. So to begin with, he didn't even need the op.
And Bill told him, well, listen, in no uncertain terms, that if we don't do the procedure, Zayyaad will lose his life, which against our better judgment we did on the 11th of October. Zayyaad went in at 3 o'clock. So at 4:30, we're waiting for news. 4:30 comes and goes. 4:30 comes and goes. At 6 o'clock, we start to stress. Something's amiss. Something's not right. Eventually, at 10 to 7, Bill walks out, all dressed, ready to go home with his little lunch tin. He says that the procedure was a success. Your son was a bit overweight, so it took a bit more time. But from an hour and a half to 4 hours didn't make any sense to me. During the procedure, according to the hospital records, an hour and a half into the procedure, he developed something called a pneumothorax, which means that his lung was ruptured during the procedure. The lung was blowing up, putting pressure on the heart. And I'm standing there and he's asking me, please hold your son's leg, keep his arms down. There was no help at the care facility. Everybody went home.
So at this point, it's just the anaesthetist.
The anaesthetist, one sister, myself, and my business partner.
And the professor had left.
The professor's gone home. He's on his way home. He feels
so you hear that there's the injury to the lung from the anaesthetist.
Yes. Now we're in complete shock. So I'm telling my son, Zayyaad, I'm saying, son, I'm here. Dad's here. Don't worry. Everything's going to be just fine. They should have never taken him out of theatre to the recovery room without making sure that his vital signs were stable.
I'm very sorry for your loss, and I appreciate you coming on to speak to us. Thank you very much for that. We will try and keep track of the developments on this matter. For more on the issue of medical malpractice, we're joined in studio by Health Professionals Council of South Africa Ombudsman, Dr. Kwinda. Doctor, good morning. Thank you so much for your time.
Good morning, Govind.
When we speak about medical malpractice or negligence, what exactly are we speaking about? Is there a stated definition of what that is?
There is indeed a stated definition of what it is, but to understand it better, you need to understand it from the point that there is a standard that is expected of a health professional in dealing with any matter, depending on the condition of the patient. So you talk about malpractice or negligence specifically when there's a duty of a practitioner, a duty of care to his patient, and there is a breach of that particular duty that has caused a harm to the patient. So that is basically the basic standard. And it all comes back from what is expected of a particular doctor or health professional under the circumstances in that particular time.
You often hear of doctors speaking about first do no harm. So if you get to, for example, a patient and you look into a system and you, let's say maybe the patient is, because I may imagine the primary care is to make sure that nobody ends up dying or leaving in a worse off situation than they came to you, right? And you speak about procedures to be followed in the standard. If somebody deviates from the procedure or the standard, but they deviated for the sole purpose that they wanted to save a life, how do you then treat that matter, for example, when it comes to a malpractice suit?
Yeah, you see the issue of do not do harm is one of the principles of medical ethics. And it comes back from the issue that doctors act in the best interest of their patients. That's why in assessing whether there was negligence or not, the question that needs to be asked is, under the circumstances, what would a reasonable doctor would have done. So, being a health professional, it's a noble profession, and you are saying to community, I'm here to help. But in the process, it may happen that something goes wrong.
So when something does go wrong, Dr. Gwinda, what is the recourse for patients? I mean, where does the council fit in?
The council fit in that there is a provision that anyone who is aggrieved by the conduct of a health professional can approach the HPCSA by lodging a complaint, which will be investigated according to our processes. So that is what is available. And depending on the outcome, then at different levels, for example, when a complaint comes, it goes through a preliminary inquiry process, which will make a determination if there is prima facie evidence of unprofessional conduct. And if it is of a serious nature, then it will go to another level, which is a professional conduct inquiry. But if it is of a minor nature, then it can be finalized at a preliminary inquiry process.
Thank you very much for joining us. I think that's pretty much where we need to leave it. But thank you very much for joining us, Dr. Gwinda. Very insightful there. And of course, it's just nobody ever wants to discuss this matter because by the time it gets here, either a life has been lost or, a complication in the procedure. So it's never really a good thing.
So that was the Health Professions Council of South Africa Ombudsman, Dr. Munyadziwa Gwinda.